Baroness Smith, good to have you on. Baroness, I see you, I don't know if you follow cricket, I see you as a sort of Joe Root figure today because the innings is collapsing all around you. Who do we send? Send for Smith. She's the Joe Root. She'll go out and she'll get a safe 50 and we can all go back to the pavilion. Good morning.
In a dramatic LBC interview, host Nick Ferrari holds Labour Minister Baroness Jackie Smith's feet to the fire over the mounting leadership crisis engulfing Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. Despite Labour promising voters during the election that they would end political chaos and bring stability back to Westminster, less than 2 years into office, the party is gripped by internal civil war, backstabbing, and speculation over a potential leadership challenge from figures like Andy Burnham. When Ferrari pushes Smith on how Labour can justify this internal meltdown to voters who were promised an end to political psychodrama, Smith struggles to defend the administration, repeatedly falling back on blaming the previous Conservative government while attempting to dodge calls for an immediate general election if Starmer is forced out.
What are we going to hear from Sir Keir Starmer later today, do you imagine, Baroness?
I don't know, but what I do know is that over the weekend and anything that he says in the next few days will be based on the really important thinking that he's been doing about what is in the best interests of the country. That's what brought him into the leadership of the Labour Party in the first place. That's what caused him to change our party and put it back into the service of
Will he
British
be speaking
people.
later today, Baroness?
I mean, I should suspect you will hear him speaking at some time over the next few days. And over the weekend, I know from those that I've spoken to close to him that, you know, he recognises that there is a challenge to his leadership. And what he's been thinking about is what are the decisions that I need to make that are in the best interests of the British people. And what do you
think is in the best interest of the country, by
Well, I'm on record as saying that I would like Keir Starmer to continue as Prime Minister. But what I also know now is that the decisions that he makes, I think he has a right to make without perhaps quite all of the advice that we've got swimming around the Labour Party at the moment. And I'm confident that the decisions that he makes about his future, but more importantly about the future of the country, will be with that best interests of the British people at heart.
Many of my listeners are a little perplexed. They voted fewer than 2 years ago for someone they wanted to be Prime Minister. We haven't even got 2 years in. They're saying that he hasn't been given a fair run at it, and it's a bit strange that you would seek to effectively overturn the entire apple cart as a result of one by-election victory. You've done this job, you've worked at LBC. What would you be saying to those listeners?
Well, what I'd be in the job I'm in now, what I'd be saying to those listeners is, first of all, you were right to vote for Keir Starmer. Look what's happened over the last 2 years.
We've got you promised to end this psychodrama, and in fact Labour decided to carry it on, and many of them are hacked off. They quite like Sir Keir, and they're hacked off with what's going on, Baroness.
Yeah, I'll come to that in a moment, but I would point to the change that Keir has already brought to this country. Growth, waiting lists, food inflation, net migration all down, children being lifted out of poverty, the biggest change in employment rights in a generation. Really important progress. Secondly, on the point about psychodrama, I think it's really important at a time like this that we reflect on the chaos that we saw in the last Tory government, who lost track of serving the British people and turned inwards and started thinking about themselves.
But your party is turning inwards. No. Come on, with this Andy Burnham drama going on.
Well, that's why, Nick, it is so important that we give the Prime Minister the time, and I know he's been doing this over the weekend, to think about what is in the best interests of the British people, and by the way, to continue governing. You know, he's been continuing the process of government over the weekend as well, talking, responding to the terrible train crash, responding to the attacks in Edinburgh.
And so last minute or so to go, the headlines such as Starmer on the brink or Burnham plans to be in number 10 by September. The headline writers are getting way ahead of themselves, Baroness?
I think they are getting ahead of themselves. That's not to say, Nick, that, it'd be bonkers for me to be here this morning and not to say that there is a challenge to the Prime Minister. But I'm simply saying, particularly to those people in my party, I've had the honour to serve under 3 Labour Prime Ministers. I know what a Labour government, positive change Labour governments make for this country, and we need to hold this Labour government carefully in whatever decisions the Prime Minister makes about his future and in whatever decisions we make for the future of the country. Because I don't want this just to be a one-term Labour government. I want us to win again.
Well, lastly on that, one of your senior colleagues, Mike Tapp, a Home Office minister, suggests that if Sir Keir does decide to stand down, there needs to be a general election.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also getting ahead of ourselves, I would say, Nick. I don't think, when we're thinking about the best interests of the British people, I'm not sure the thing that most people are saying is what I really want is another general election. I think what they're saying is we elected this Labour government to change the country. They've started, but there's a lot more to do, and that's what I want them to focus on.
This clip exposes the ultimate political hypocrisy of the Labour administration. Labour built their entire election strategy on promising to end the Westminster psychodrama and bring adult competence back to government. Yet less than 2 years into office, they imported the exact same civil war, backstabbing, and panic they spent years condemning. Watching a senior Labour minister get backed into a corner by Nick Ferrari, desperately bringing up the previous Conservative government to distract from their own internal meltdown, shows just how rapidly public trust collapsed. When politicians promise stability but deliver endless internal wrangling and self-preservation, they lose all authority to lead.